Hi everyone, it's Alicia. I know that it's been a while since I've made a vlog, but I wanted to make one today because I think that it's time we address an issue that has been coming up a lot lately in the news and just in the world's energy in general, and that is the rise of white supremacy and white nationalism here in the United States and just all over the world. There are groups of people who are reviving sentiments that were brought up in Nazi Germany and in the old Deep South here in the States during the times of slavery. And no matter what roots those sentiments come from, they're basically the same thing. The idea that white people, Caucasian people, are better than everyone else. The idea that their culture is better, that they're biologically better than other people, which I don't know how that works. Just this whole idea that because you're born into a certain culture or in a certain country or into a certain religion, that you are somehow superior to other groups of people. And that's just disgusting. I think most people can agree on that, and if you can't, you really need to check your priorities, man. Um, but it's disgusting in general, but lately I've been seeing this come up and it just absolutely gets my blood boiling. The idea that not only are those sentiments of white nationalism or nationalism in general, the idea that, oh, this is only that Europe's a place only for Europeans or America's only a place for Americans, which is hilarious because unless your family is 100% Native American going back dozens of generations, you're not technically a Native American. You know, this land isn't yours. You have ancestors that came from other parts of the world, but I digress. The point is the idea that only certain areas are meant for certain types of people or certain cultures. It's stupid and dumb and just hateful at worst. But what's getting me really angry is seeing it blended in with religion, whether that's Christians saying that to be a good Christian means to join the KKK and burn crosses and terrorize and lynch people, or people who claim to follow Norse Paganism and they mix that in with the Nazi mysticism that came up during Hitler's reign, that the Nazis took Norse mythology and Germanic mysticism and they blended it in with their ideologies of eugenics and classism and hate and all that stuff to make it its own brand, and they mixed it in and made it into this thing where it was, oh yeah, of course the Norse gods are only for the good-blooded Aryans or Germans or white people or whatever it is that they believed. And that is now spreading with modern resurgences in white nationalism, white supremacy. People are co-opting symbols of Norse paganism that have nothing to do with white supremacy, and they're using those symbols and saying that they stand for those things. Or they're taking the Norse gods and goddesses and are saying that they stand for those things and are making images that make it seem that that's what they stand for. For instance, the other day I was browsing on Google Images looking at pictures of Baldur, who is the Norse god of peace and love and joy and all that good stuff, and I saw that someone had taken an image of him that was this beautiful ancient bronze engraving, and they had photoshopped in behind his head, so it almost sort of looked like a halo coming down, but they had photoshopped in the double lightning bolt that's associated with a symbol of the SS, of the Nazi SS. And that just got me so mad, and it summed up exactly what's wrong with co-opting religion for not even politics, but just for hate. It's just disgusting that people would take these wonderful stories and myths and gods and symbols that mean so much to people and just twist them and mutilate them to mean things that they're not, to mean hatred, to mean that these gods and symbols and things only are for certain people, or that they stand for wiping out all other people and cultures on the face of the earth. It's awful, and it's really stupid if you think about it in terms of the stories, especially with the Norse deities, because there's different kinds. It's not just one type of gods and goddesses. There's, in the Norse myths and sagas, there's dwarves, there's giants, there's huge, enormous creatures, giant wolves and snakes, and deities who stand for the elements, and just all kinds of stuff. There's 9 universes in Norse paganism that have all their different populations of creatures and deities and stuff. So it's really stupid to think that, oh yeah, those deities and creations that are so varied and different in and of themselves, and who created and create everything in existence, that they, for some reason, would decide to play favorites with a teeny tiny group of people here on Midgard, on the earth where humans live. And what a coincidence, the group that they decided to play favorites with is the group that proclaims, oh yes, they play favorites, and it's with us, we're the favorites, we're the special ones. It's the stupidest thing ever. It's just dumb, and I think the ones who are laughing the loudest at it are the gods. And yet, while we can laugh at it and should laugh at it, because as Mel Brooks once said, the best way to combat hatred and bigotry is to poke fun at it and to show how ridiculous it is at the end of the day. As much as we can laugh at white supremacy and neo-Nazism and all of the sentiments that it proclaims, the sad and scary thing is that they can also lead to violence and to people getting hurt and people dying. We've seen that even here in the United States alone, just the past year. I mean, Charlottesville and all the different marches and rallies that are just full of people proclaiming that this land, the United States, is a land only for white people and only for neo-Nazis and all that crazy stuff that they believe. And it's just awful to see that those views are being mixed in with Norse paganism. I myself, I don't identify as a Norse pagan or as a heathen or follower of Asatru. I know those are 3 terms that people who only work with the Norse pantheon use for themselves. I don't know if they're interchangeable or if they mean different things. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but I personally, I've heard them used interchangeably, but again, I could be wrong. So I don't only follow the Norse gods. I am an eclectic pagan. However, I do work with some of the Norse deities, Freya and Baldur and Thor, and who knows, maybe more if they tap me on the shoulder and speak out to me later. But they're just wonderful deities to work with. They're kind and loving and guiding, and the stories of the Norse sagas and myths are absolutely wonderful. And I went to Sweden several years ago as a study abroad student, and it was just the most open and welcoming place I'd ever been to. It was beautiful. There was just nature all around. The people were amazingly friendly and open, much more friendly than anywhere I've traveled to in the United States. And I say that as someone who went to the country and didn't speak the language, and who has a disability, and people would come up to me out of nowhere without me even seeking them out and would say, "Oh, I noticed you're trying to cross the street. Do you need help?" So the people were amazingly friendly, much more so than anywhere I've traveled in the United States. Not that there aren't friendly people here, but just the vibes of openness and welcomeness, and hey, welcome to our country as a visitor, as a guest here in our land, as a foreigner. Make yourself at home. Can we help you in any way? That it was just so welcoming and open, and I loved it. And it was wonderful to go there and to connect with the people and the land of one of my ancestors, or several of my ancestors, because I have, among other nationalities in my family tree, I have Swedish ancestry in my family, and so it was wonderful to connect with the land and the culture, and it really felt like a homecoming, so it was wonderful to go there. And so to see the country and the culture and the land and deities associated with white supremacy, and just to have them all dragged through the mud and smeared with hatred and mutilated into that they stand for hatred, it's disgusting, and it angers me like few other things do. And so I want to right now say that I stand against those things. I stand against white nationalism and the distorting of the Norse deities and Germanic mysticism and Scandinavian culture to stand for those things. They do not. They should not. And for those of you who believe that they do, I sincerely hope that you re-examine yourselves and the things that you believe and why you believe them. And for my Norse pagan brothers and sisters, how can I help? You shouldn't have to fight those misconceptions alone. So, as a fellow pagan, what can I do to help? What are ways that you would like someone to stand up for you when someone misrepresents your faith or thinks that it stands for something it doesn't? How would you like someone coming to your assistance to respond? Let me know, and let us all walk in love and light, no matter what deity or deities we follow, and no matter where our ancestors come from, no matter what country they came from or what country we live in now. Let's all walk in love and light and try to understand each other, and to realize that this world and the universe is so much bigger than the boxes we try to put each other in and ourselves in. So with that in mind, go in peace, and may the gods bless you, and blessed be. Bye.